And welcome. How you going? Welcome back to the stream. My name's James. If you don't know me, I'm a product designer and a hobby musician, and I love designing music stuff, music devices, music instruments, those kinds of things. And when I can, I try to use things like that to make music. But yeah, in this stream, what you're watching is the design of something we're calling the live drum machine, or LDM. I'm working on this project with 4 other friends, and in the streams I'm doing the CAD design. I'm here in SolidWorks and working on this design, 3D design of the live drum machine. And in the last episode I put in this little connector PCB, which is going to have 2 sockets on it, and that will allow you to disconnect this Raspberry Pi here or the main PCB there. Now this stream I think is going to be pretty quick. It's quite late. I just spent some time watching the Apple WWDC, whatever it's called, presentation, and it's a bit late now, so I'm just going to do a little bit of stuff for maybe, I don't know, 30-45 minutes or so, and then I'll probably call it. I'm thinking I might just tidy up this PCB a little bit. One thing I mentioned yesterday was that I was going to add some screw holes, and I'm not exactly sure if I want to do that yet, because I don't think it really makes sense to put screw holes in anywhere until I'm sure where everything is going to be, because I'll probably just have to move the screw holes anyway. But I will add some round corners to this PCB, I think. So I'm going to go into my skeleton model. This is my part with all my dimension sketches in it that I reference everything to. And I'll go to my PCB top sketch and edit that. So over here is where I have this sort of connector PCB over the top of the other 2 PCBs there. And I could just add fillets to the 3D part, but I tend to prefer to add fillets, I guess you could say, in the sketch, because that way I can do things like I can make screw holes concentric with the fillet, things like that. So yeah, I'm gonna do it this way. And I also don't usually use the sketch fillet tool, because I find that it can be a little bit unstable, or I might want to delete one of the fillets, or I don't know. I just prefer to do it this way. Now this line here, I think I'm gonna have to move it from there, because I want to delete that corner. So I'm gonna get the midpoint of this line and put that line there. That line's just measuring the distance to there. And I'll have to do the same thing here. I can turn off detach segment on drag, select the midpoint, and add that in there. Sorry, there's a fly flying around in front of me. Yeah, so then I'll make these concentric. Sorry, just let me check my stream settings for a second. Okay, I think we're all good. Yeah, so I was just watching the Apple presentation, this WWDC, and if you've seen any of my other videos or if you know what I'm like, I would say I'm a Apple skeptic. I've owned Apple products before, and I think some of the devices are really nice, some of the hardware. Generally not a fan of the software, and generally not a fan of their company practices. But still love seeing new tech. So yeah, it was cool to watch. Um, Most of the WWDC is like operating system improvements, and a lot of that stuff is just like things that have been around on other platforms for a long time. It's nice to see Apple adding them in as well, but it's not really, you don't really see much new stuff there, like new exciting things. But they did announce their new hardware device, which is the Apple Vision Pro, the virtual reality headset, I guess, or mixed reality. So that was pretty cool. They definitely went all out on throwing as many things at it as possible. I would say, like, um, they have a display on the outside of the headset, which shows your eyes, even though it's not actually your eyes, it's some recreation of your eyes. But it looks pretty cool. And I was wondering during the presentation, I wonder how much that adds to the cost, because that's an extra display that most VR headsets don't have. And turns out that, and probably many other things, add a lot to the cost, because 4 days after the Quest 3 was announced at $499, an all-in-one VR headset with a CPU inside and inside-out tracking and hand tracking. Released at $499, and then they dropped the Apple Vision Pro for $3,499. Just added a cool $3,000 onto the price, which was a bit wild. So interested to see how that goes. But yeah, I do think it's a very cool device though. But my god, is it expensive. Yo, sorry for the delay. Was helping my daughter with the tire issue. Oh, good man. No stress at all. Welcome back, my number one fan. Dude, don't ever apologize for being late. I'm just stoked that you're even here at all. I couldn't ask for anything more. I was just rambling about the Apple presentation. Did you watch it? They announced the VR headset. Let me trim all these corners off. No, lol, I've been repairing stuff this morning. Fair enough, man. So, they announced it, right? I would say I had a lawn boulder incident with my lawnmower. Oh no, that doesn't sound good. Lawn boulder. How many widgets will be in the view? They talked a lot about the widgets and how many will be in view. All the widgets. And they kept reiterating that you can make the screen any size you want. And it's like, well, what about just my full field of vision like every other VR headset? But yeah, so we were watching along and looking at the specs and stuff. That's next year's model. Yeah, I was watching along with my friend, and we were commenting on the specs, and I said at one point, let's try and guess how much it weighs and how much it costs. So I guessed 650 grams. Well, for a frame of reference, the Quest 2, which was announced like 4 days ago, Quest 3, sorry, very similar headset, like has a CPU built inside, has inside out tracking, hand tracking, all that kind of stuff. Obviously a lot less premium, but it weighs, actually the weight isn't confirmed on the Quest 3, but the Quest 2 is like 500 grams, I think. And the Quest 3, they announced the price of $499, like $499. So I said to my friend, let's try and guess the weight and the price of the Apple Vision Pro, as it's called. And I said, and I thought I was like blowing this out. I thought I was exaggerating, I thought I was on the crazy side. But I said, I think 650 grams and $2,500. And I was saying that in like just trying to be ridiculous. Like, oh yeah, Quest 3 is 500. Let's just multiply that by 5. That sounds about right for Apple. And then, so we don't know the weight, but the price is 3,500. I was like, holy shit. They did that. So pretty wild. Definitely keen to test it out though. I'll just buy a Mac Studio for that price, lol. Well, according to them, even if you were to buy a Mac Studio and 3 displays and high definition camera and blah blah blah, that still wouldn't be the value of the Apple Vision Pro. Even though can't play games on it. I don't know. I can't help but be so skeptical. Like watching these presentations just makes me want to laugh and cry at the same time, because I want to laugh because it's like, how ridiculous is this? But I want to cry because I know that people are watching it thinking it's amazing. Yeah, but if you bought stuff that is slightly inferior, but like at a third of the cost. But what if I bought stuff that is slightly inferior? And what if that stuff has had widgets for years? This is the thing, right? Like, at one point there was a section where they were talking about Safari and saying Safari is the fastest browser in the world. It's like, really? And then they're saying Safari was the first browser to ever have a private browsing mode. It's like, really? I don't think so. And then they start talking about like, now you can make web apps where you can turn a website into a desktop launchable app and blah blah blah. And she's like explaining all this stuff, like, yeah, this is this new thing called web app, and you'll be able to do this and this and this like never before. And it's like, are you seriously going to stand here with a straight face explaining to me this new concept of web app after I've been using web apps for like 3 years? Like, how dare you try to teach me what a web app is when I've literally been using it for 3 years on other web browsers? Like, what are you talking about? All right. Have to teach their own developers how to get on this new tech. Yeah. Something like that. there was a few. There was a few things where I was like, "Are they serious?" There was one thing that I was impressed by, and I thought it was cool that they were talking about on the AirPods Pros, how or the AirPods, how you know you have active noise cancelling and then you have pass through. So they want to have like this adaptive audio mode where um it sort of automatically switches in and out of a noise cancelling and pass through. Like if somebody talks to you, it should like you should be able to hear them. But then if there's like somebody mowing the lawn or something, then it should drown out the sound of the lawnmower. So I think that's a good idea, depending how well it's implemented. But I guess that they've probably done it pretty well. But yeah, a lot of the other stuff I was like, when are you going to show me something new that I haven't been using already for 3 years? So they had like they had this whole section about always on display, like screensavers and stuff that's only available on the iPhone 14 Pro. It's like, dude, you had always on displays on like the Samsung Galaxy S2 or something. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but they've been around for ages in the Android world. What else? Oh, they introduced offline maps on Apple Maps, where it's like, I mean, sometimes with these things, I'm like, yeah, I've been using that for years. And then I think, like, am I imagining that I've been using that for years, or have I really been using that for years? And then I'm like, no, I mean, offline maps. I backpacked around Europe for 5 months in 2018, and I was like strictly using offline maps. Like, how have they not got offline maps yet? So, like, a paper map with the battery dies. Uh, no, it's just like you can download an area of map, um, so that when you don't have data access, all the businesses and stuff are still saved there, and you can navigate and stuff without being connected to a network. Um, that's kind of Apple's deal, though. It's the boomer-proof operating system. Yeah, it is a little bit. Um, just ribbing. Yeah, my bad. Sorry. What else did they say? Um, oh yeah, they had this whole section about gaming, and they brought on Hideo Kojima from Kojima Games. He's made like all the Metal Gear Solid games and stuff. And arguably the worst game he's ever made is, well, the most lackluster game he's ever made was Death Stranding. Um, and yeah, that was their big announcement that like we're bringing Death Stranding to Apple. Oh no, it's my favorite game. Fuck, sorry, man. To be fair, I haven't played it. This is just what my gamer friends have told me, so I haven't given it a chance. And also, to be fair, they hate a lot of the games that I like, so I feel attacked. Fuck, sorry, man. Hey, maybe I should buy a MacBook and play Death Stranding, and then I'll talk. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of Hideo Kojima's games. Like I played, well, I don't know many of them. I played Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid 5, and I loved both of them. It's almost always on sale. I mean, it's pretty old, right? Death Stranding. I mean, not super old, but like at least a few years old, right? Like 3 or 4 years. Yeah, 2019. So it's like 3 or 4 years old. Yeah, I mean, doesn't Death Stranding has Metal Gear DNS, but it's in the Horizon Zero Dawn game engine. DNA. Okay, gotcha. So it's similar vibe, I guess. Fuck, I feel bad for talking shit about Death Stranding now, but like the point is that their big announcement is like, oh yeah, we have a kind of we have a 4-year-old game running on our platform now. Physics-based walking sim with a bonkers story. Do you mean walking sim like the way that they walk is cool, or it's just a lot of walking? Um, Mac does not do gaming. Yeah, I mean it's a step in the right direction, I guess. Hey Marco, how you going? Insert a display and processor. Are you talking about in this device, or are we talking about Apple stuff? Because I do have a display here and a processor here. Thanks for clicking on the video, by the way. We can chat about the game on Insta. True. Yeah. Alright. This PCB has fillets on it now. What else did I note down about the Apple presentation? Yeah, offline map. They made a game mode now. Using Intel M2 chip. What's an Intel M2 chip? Yeah, they made this game mode, which was like basically we realized that games don't run very smoothly, so we're just gonna turn off everything so that a game can function. What else? Yeah, the web apps thing. AirPods adaptive mode. I did like that. It's also interesting for companies that make headphones. Wink, wink. Yeah, something I liked with this the VR headset, right? They said like headphones I'm not allowed to buy. They said with this VR headset that you'll be able to watch back videos of your most cherished moments with your children and stuff in 3 dimensions, because you have two eyes, two screens, so you'll be able to see it in 3 dimensions. And the way you can record these precious moments with your children is by wearing the VR goggles and using the cameras to take a video of your kids. So like when you're having these cherished moments with your kids and playing with them, you should be wearing VR headset. Very nice. And this is not you were conceived from POV. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know if that's the way I want to experience raising my children, is by wearing a VR headset while playing with them. Anyway, I do think it's cool that you can make 3D videos though and watch them back. I just think the example was a bit weird. The future. Yeah, and then we guessed the price and got it way wrong. $3,499, which is like 7,000 Australian dollars. It's crazy. Yeah, and the biggest thing for me, sorry, Marco, using a i3 1115G4 from the Raspberry Pi. I'm not exactly sure what you're instructing me to do. You want me to change the Pi to an i3? We're not entirely sure what the processor in this device is going to be yet, but the Pi will be in there for this prototype, just for for prototyping, for ease of development stuff, until we choose a final processor. But it will probably be an ARM-based processor, so the i3 I don't think will be among the choices. Oh, I forgot about the island tax. Well, it's just the conversion rate. For the OS, I don't understand what you're what you're telling me. I'm sorry. Okay. Maybe I will add some screw holes just on this little board, not on the main board. So yeah, the reason why I like putting the fillets in the corners like this is because I can then make, in the sketch, is because then I can make a screw hole concentric, but the screw hole is going to be too big. Probably going to use a M3 screw, so it needs to be 3mm, so this fillet maybe needs to be a bit bigger. Using the OS internally. I'm still not sure what you're talking about. Using like an AI to generate to generate comments using the talks instead of Phillips. Dude, what the hell are you talking about? I'm sorry. Is this like an AI spam bot? What is happening here? Maybe new to the project. I mean, I just don't understand what you're telling me to do. Like, for the main board, use the Torx screw. Maybe. What? Maybe you can tell me why I should use a Torx screw. The little using the M4 screw. You've lost me, bro. You've lost me. Like, what are you saying? I don't want to be rude, but I just don't. Maybe maybe there's a translation error or something going on here. But I just don't quite understand what exactly we're talking about. Actually, I'll just make all of these fillets the same. Why not? Using the M4 screw. Okay, I'm just gonna try to guess what you're meaning by that. If you're suggesting that I should use an M4 screw instead of an M3 screw, what I would respond is I think M4 is probably a little bit overkill because I don't think there'll be huge amounts of force on this board, and I've already got 4 screws in a fairly tight small board, so I think there'll be more than enough strength from these 4 M3 screws to hold this thing in place. About using Torx instead of Phillips. To be honest, I'm not really the biggest fan of either of them. I prefer Hex. And they're a bit more readily available than Torx. Torx is sort of more popular in Europe, I guess, but probably a lot of the parts are going to be sourced from China. And yeah. For the little mainboard, including the processor chip, use the M4 screw just for disassembling the little board and not the little board. Alright, at this point, I must be talking to an AI. Like, what? The Pi has screw holes in it already, and I'm pretty sure they're designed for M4 screws. Sorry, M3 screws. One thing I'm thinking though is that I probably should add in the screw holes on the Pi here because they will need to pass by this PCB. So I need to make sure this PCB is not in the way of those screws. I might even need to reduce that distance there. Use the M2 for the display. I mean, depends what display we use. The display might not even have screw holes. Okay, the fillet sizes are probably going to change a bit here. Did you ask about the velocity sensitive pads by chance? Do you mean ask the other guys, like ask Yesa, or did I ask Marco? Marco, what's your opinion on the velocity sensitive pads? Should I use the M4 screw or the i3? Yes, sir. Okay. Um, no, I didn't ask yes, sir. Yeah, actually, yeah. I think I've told you before, but yes, sir is an elusive character. And actually, I think I messaged him yesterday. No, I messaged him earlier today, and he hasn't responded. So, yeah, haven't had a chance to get on to him about that yet. Um, dude, this stream is in shambles. I've no idea what's going on. The beginning of the stream, I was looking at my screen at CAD, and the screen capture was showing Rust, the video game. I was like, what the hell? I don't have Rust on my screen. Why is that there? He sounds motivated to get his product to prototyping. Yeah. Don't know what's happening, dude. Yeah, supposedly he's got a bit of free time at the moment, but don't know. Maybe he's doing some other things. No, I mean, I bet he probably is doing a lot of stuff related to the project. He just doesn't check his phone very often. That's the problem. All right, so yeah, see how I've got a screw hole here and here? They're going to be problems for this PCB. So I'm going to have to move these sides in a little bit and move the holes up here, I think. It should be okay. But I need to put those holes into the sketch so that I can see what's happening. How big are these holes? 2.7. Yeah, because an M3 screw is only about 2.7 millimeters in diameter. Makes sense. Okay. Let's do that. Let's put the screw holes in. So, show my Raspberry Pi sketch. Oh yeah, these points here are the screw holes. Okay. Let me open this, and I'll edit that sketch to add circles there. Use a Buick converter to power the Raspberry Pi. A buck converter. Maybe? I think we'll probably power it directly from the USB-C. I like how we've sort of fallen into this game of you suggest things for me to do that I've never considered before. What other ideas have you got? So a buck converter is used to convert voltages from potentially a higher voltage to a lower voltage, or the other way around. But since the Raspberry Pi operates at 5 volts and the USB-C input can receive 5 volts from a 5-volt charger, I don't think we'll need a buck converter. We'll probably just use the USB port as it is. But buck converters definitely are handy things. There's a lot of people joining on YouTube, so whoever's clicked on the stream, welcome in. Good to have you here. If you got any questions or suggestions, like our friend Marco here, maybe you want to suggest what type of screws I can use. It's much appreciated. I'm currently putting in some screw holes on this Raspberry Pi sketch so that my connector board will not accidentally cover them. Assuming the USB-C as 10 watt of I/O. The USB-C can support, I think, up to 15 watts. Need to double check that. Oh, I keep pressing the wrong button. Equal. Can make these lines construction lines just so I know that they're indicating the hole spacing. Yeah, so I need to get this out of the way of those holes, so I can just reduce this distance. That 2 millimeters, maybe that's good enough, or maybe I should make it even less. Well, we'll go with that for now. And it's hard to tell without having this socket in here. I don't know how big the socket is going to be. It's probably bigger than this. So let's make this bigger. Let's make this like 6 millimeters. And that should be equal to that. What's that equal to? This one. What's this equal to? There we go. Make this 2.7 as well. Let's see what that looks like. I just want to clear these holes. I want there to be space for screws. Sorry, I had to finish my husband chores. I missed this section while vacuuming. Damn, vacuuming and lawn mowing on the same day. Getting super domestic. Okay, I think that is like better. So I'll be able to screw this plate up in, screw this PCB up into this plate with screw bosses, which I haven't added yet. But yeah, then I need a socket, a big box socket on here that this will plug into, and I need another one here, and I need another 40 pin header. So yeah, I can add them in soon, maybe on the next stream, maybe soon after. I also do want to get in the potentiometers, so maybe I'll do those on the next stream too. I do all of the chores other than cooking. That's the kind of deal I would think I would aim for as well. Yeah, I don't mind vacuuming, don't mind lawn mowing, but cooking, I don't know. cooking like takes a level of creativity that I'm not willing um, to invest into something that is so temporary. So I'm very lazy with cooking, even though I really appreciate a good meal. But you know, I design things for mass production for thousands of units. So designing and building one unit and then eating it, that's hard for me to accept. My wife loves to cook and I'm good at it, but she gets like mental zen from it. Yeah, I think a lot of people are like that. I'm not like that for some reason, but you know, all power to you if you are, because cooking good food is a very valuable skill. All right, I said I was gonna go for like 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and I'm at 48 now, so I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I didn't do much. I just tidied up this PCB a little bit, but yeah, it's about consistency, I guess. Lame. Sorry, man. I just want to keep myself consistent and, you know, coming back. But I also haven't been sleeping enough lately, so I need to do that too. And I preoccupied myself with this Apple presentation, which, yeah, I complained a lot about, but it was very good. I'm very happy that Apple exists, because now virtual reality and augmented reality is going to get a lot more attention. It will become mainstream, even though nobody's going to be able to afford it. But I'm glad they're here, you know. The products aren't for me, but I'm glad they're doing it. Alright. I've saved. It's time to wrap it up. Thanks again for joining, my brother man. And thanks to Marco, if you're still there. Sorry that I had a bit of trouble deciphering what we were talking about, but glad to have you here regardless. Hey, Raya. Sorry, man. It's good to have you here, but I'm just about to wrap up. I've got to get back into some more longer streams. But good to have you back, man. Or, person. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I'm just about to wrap up, so. Cool. Thanks, guys, for joining. Yeah, next video, I think I'm gonna finally get these potentiometers going. And I need to model them from scratch from the drawing. So if you've ever wanted to learn how to completely 3D model something from a 2D drawing, that'll be the one to watch. Anyway, enjoy your afternoon, morning, whatever it is. And yeah, thanks for clicking. And if you have time and the appreciation for what I'm doing, would love it if you could press like and subscribe or follow or whatever you can, if you feel like it. Anyway, have a good one, guys. See you later.